Diary, hello, it's the beginning of May 2024 and this is a small demonstration slash sales pitch of the hp620 laptop. Now this is a pretty old laptop but it's still going. It's a sale on eBay, there's a link in the description. But the point is just to ramble on about in fact the trouble I've had getting it working right. I think it is working right now. Let's just open up the old girl. It's on mains, connected to mains. We're going to refocus it. And we're going to press the tab in the middle. Somebody did ask whether I could run it with a browser and Discord at the same time. So there's the YouTube in the browser. Start that off. And that's a Discord screen. So that's a YouTube video I made earlier. And like I said, this is a Discord screen. Now this is currently a laptop which is running Ubuntu 24.04, which means the latest release of Ubuntu. And I initially advertised this laptop as running Windows 11, and that's what I'm going to talk about in more detail. So actually, this laptop had difficulty installing even Ubuntu. So I installed Windows 11 Pro, and that ran absolutely fine. As you may all know, you can install Windows 11 and not meet the minimum requirements. The best way that I find to do this is to use the Rufus tool, which I use anyway to install Windows systems. So Rufus is a free tool which allows you to take a .iso and create a bootable USB stick. So gone are the days when you have to burn a physical CD-ROM or DVD. So you download the .iso from Microsoft. You use Rufus to write that .iso file onto a USB key, and that becomes a bootable USB key. And in the options, when you're building the bootable USB key, Rufus allows you to make certain customizations, such as sign in with a local user ID, use any CPU, not just one of the CPUs that Windows 11 mandates, and so forth. So you can install Windows 11, in my case, I always use Windows 11 Pro, on let's say an older machine that wouldn't naturally support it. And that worked fine. So this machine installed Windows 11 Pro absolutely fine, activated absolutely fine. Now I did install a whole bunch of updates, absolutely fine. But then it came to installing the 23H2 major update. Now, as you know, there's a 23H2, and there's also not yet shipping, but there's a 24H2 for year 2024 in the works. Now, in the 2024H2 update, people have made reference to the fact that certain machines are no longer supported, and the way that Microsoft is doing this is by looking for the pop count, POP-CNT instruction, and if it doesn't find that instruction, the machine will just not boot. So I was pretty confident that 23H2, which is the current sort of latest large package fix, would be fine, but it is not fine. So I installed on this laptop, which of course is over 10 years old and consequently a little bit slow, 3 times I clean installed Windows 11 Pro and then did various customizations and then applied the fixes, and after applying 23H2 the machine will not reboot successfully. Well, it asks you to reboot, you press the reboot key, it just never makes it, it never comes back. So again, I've done it 3 times, and believe me, that takes a floppity long time on a machine of this age. So in desperation, I thought, well, I'll try Ubuntu. So much to my amazement, I tried Ubuntu, and Ubuntu says it's installed fine, but when it tries to reboot, it just doesn't reboot. It says it can't find an operating system. So the way that Linux works, of course, is it installs the grub bootloader into the boot sector, and I think slight announcement, Ubuntu 24.04, the standard installer, has a bug. I've noticed it because I've installed Ubuntu 24.04 probably at least 10 times now, and there's a drop down which says where to install the Grub bootloader, and the drop down should give you a list of options. It normally gives you the list of options including the USB key from which you are installing, which would obviously make nonsense, but it does give you that option. But whatever you select, it doesn't seem to populate. First of all, it doesn't populate the choice in the drop down properly, and secondly, it looks like on this laptop, which is not a UEFI BIOS laptop, so it's an old style BIOS laptop, then it doesn't seem to install the bootloader, because when the installation has completed, so it's booted from the key, you've answered all the questions, it's installed all the packages, it's installed in a root file system, it's installed a swap space, Ubuntu then is completely booted. At that point you can install fixes and so forth, and when you reboot it just doesn't boot. There might be a fix, thinking about it, whereby you could after it had booted to no, it doesn't allow it. No, it is not. No, I'm talking rubbish. I don't think you can. I was thinking, could you manually play around with Grub before the reboot? But I don't think you can. Anyway, so I installed it with Ubuntu Linux, and that worked fine. Ubuntu Linux did install the Grub bootloader fine, and so then I installed Ubuntu as a second operating system, and as you can see, it is absolutely fine. Everything works. The Wi-Fi works. The apps install quite fine, just as you might expect. And I've even installed this Discord Debian package from a download. So everything absolutely works fine on this system. So the answer is it worth trying to repurpose this ancient laptop? Well, I spent about £20 on the drive. I'm selling it basically for no profit. I'm selling it for £40 on eBay, and by the time they've had the deduction of the eBay charges, and there's postage to consider, and insurance, tracking, wrapping, packaging, basically I think I'm going to be making about, if I make a £5 profit on it, I'll be lucky. So I think it's a lot of work, but it's still a usable system. It's just a shame that Windows 11 Pro isn't going to make the cut. I mean, you can still install Windows 11 Pro. It's just that you must never install the 23H2 or later fix pack, which rather is a bit of a downer, really. So I would recommend for a machine of this age, which has got the SSE41, but not the SSE42 processor extension. This is an Intel Core Duo. Again, it's got the SSE41 extension, but it doesn't have this all-important SSE 4.2 extension, which includes the pop count instruction. I would recommend you go with 64-bit Linux, and I think Ubuntu or Ubuntu is the way to go. Okay, Darry, thanks for watching.